like to show you guys how to plait what I like to call the fire pattern. This pattern is really fun, and it's cool to just watch these colors come to life. I call it the fire pattern because it sort of shows the heat scale of a flame. The black sort of represents the coldest portion, and obviously the neon yellow is the hottest portion. And we're going from black to neon yellow, and it's just like the temperature is going up gradually, and it just shows you the heat scale. I love it. It's probably one of my new favorites. Actually, in this video was the first time I've ever plaited it, and I plan on making a lot more whips with this pattern. Hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial and learned something new. If you liked the video, please subscribe. Here's the strand lengths needed for a 6-foot bullwhip. If you guys would like to take a screenshot of that, feel free right now. In this video, we're obviously only going to be paying attention to the overlay strands, as you can see here. I have them color coded here for you guys to make it easier. So you can see one 24-foot orange strand, which we have here. Going down, here's our 24-foot strand yellow, and so on. So just pay close attention to this and just go ahead and cut your strands accordingly to the list here on the right. Also, it's important to mention that throughout this video, never at any point are we actually fusing two different colors together. When I say you need a yellow 24-foot strand, you need one solid 24-foot yellow strand. You may notice that some of the strands, actually all of the strands, have been fused together. And the reason I do that is just to find the middle. I find it simpler than tying a knot to find the middle of the strand. So I'll take one solid 24-foot strand, solid color, cut it in the middle, and then just fuse it together, just so I know where the middle is. Okay, now that you have all 8 strands cut and prepared by following this guide that I showed you, it's time to walk over to our vise, get ready for plaiting. We're going to actually be starting off with a diamond plait because that's actually what this specific customer ordered. You can go straight into the herringbone if you want to, or you could start with a diamond plait, which is what we're about to do. I have all 8 strands here in my hand. We're getting ready to tie on the strands to our whip. But the first thing we're going to do is get our reds here and our blacks. So the reds go with the blacks and the yellows go with the oranges. And we're getting ready to tie on these strands first. Make sure that all colors are touching their own kind, like this. And let's tie these on first. Orange on top. Make sure that they stay coordinated like that around the back. Right side comes over the left side. As simple as that. Make sure that the middles of your strands are resting on the back side of the whip. Just like that. Now we're going to grab our other strands here. The red and black strands. And this time black is on top, red is on the bottom. Now since we know where the middles of our strands are, I'm just going to grab the ends and feed them through. That's why it's so important to mark the middles of your strands, whether it be by tying a knot or measuring the whole length of the strand and then cutting it in the middle. You just need to know where the middle is, otherwise your plaiting is not going to come out evenly. You're going to have, one of those two, okay? You're going to take all the remaining strands, the red and the black strands. We're going to open up that eye like we do in every other single video on plaiting. Feed these through, like that. And then we can close that eye, like that. Make sure that the oranges are touching and the yellows are touching. And because this is kind of a precise pattern, we're going to be dropping 2 strands at the same time once we get there. Make sure that the blacks are on the top. So if you need to sort through a little bit, do some sorting out. Black strands are on the top. Just like that. Pull this closed. And there we go. Pull the black strands through. One at a time till you find the middle. And there is the melted part. As you can see, that's the middle. Next black strand is being pulled till we reach the middle. There it is. And then what's left are our 2 red strands. I can even do it without looking. I can feel on my right hand, I can feel the melted part indicating the middle, so I'm not even going to double check by looking because I can feel that. And there we go. Reposition the camera real quick. So here's a close-up. This is the pattern that we want to see throughout the entire plaiting of the whip. At some points you may have fewer strands, but this is always the sequence you want. You want black on top, red, orange, and yellow at the bottom. And on the other side it should be exactly a mirror image. Black on top, red below that, orange below that, and then yellow at the bottom. Now what we could do would be we could go into a diamond plait, which was what we're about to do, a 2-strand side-by-side 16 plait diamond pattern. Or if you so choose to, you could go straight into a herringbone. The idea is after every pass, I explained what a pass is in my previous videos, you end up with this once again. You plait 16 strands, stop, take a look, notice black, red, orange, yellow. After plaiting 16 strands, you always want to see that. Be very careful about accidentally getting an orange in between the reds. Just always kind of come back and make sure that you're seeing the sequence. If not, not a big deal. Just back up, pay a little closer attention to what you're doing, and you'll be fine. So I'm going to start to plait this right now, and I'm actually going to do 2 strands side by side diamond plait. Here we go. Top strands are black, around the back, under, over, under, over. Under, over, under, over. And exposure down. Under, over, under, over. And make sure that I don't, things start to get a little tight here, so before that happens I'm going to go ahead and slide it up to where it needs to be, which is at the top, okay? So I'm going to actually just complete this pass for you. I'm going to plait the entire 16 strands, and then we'll take a little break and kind of look over what we're doing. Make sure that our pattern, that our sequence is still correct. Under 2, over 2, under 2, over 2. Always making sure that the 2 colors are side by side. The 2 strands of the same color are side by side. Otherwise it'll throw off your flame. Under the, whoops. I am having to look around my microphone. Under the yellow, over the black, under the red, over the orange. And here we go. This is the final pass, or final 2 strands that I'm plaiting, and then we'll be back at square one, because that's one. We went through all 16 strands, so we should be back to square one, which we are. Look at that. Black, red, orange, yellow. black, red, orange, yellow. Same on both sides. I'm going to continue to plait all the way down to the transition, where we will pick up there and we'll kind of make sure everything's still in order, and we'll transition into the herringbone pattern. Okay, we've been plaiting along here and the whole handle is complete. Going to take a quick look here just to make sure that our sequence is still correct. We have our 2 black strands on each side, 4 of them. Below that, 4 red strands. 4 red strands. Below that, 4 orange, and then 4 yellow. So we're going to go straight into an under 4 over 4. Okay? Just like this. Black strand first. The other black strand. Going under 4 over 4. Go. Under 4 over 4. Now we have our red strands. This one up here. Under 4 over 4. So our first red is nice and bold there. Good. The last red of this pass. Now the orange. Second to hottest color in this particular whip. The other orange. Under 4 over 4. Just like that. And finally, our yellow. One more. And we just completed one pass of this fire pattern. Isn't it just a really beautiful pattern? One pass, and then I'm getting ready to start the next pass, which is the black. But before I do that, make sure that the back side is good. There's no spaces. We're looking good. So I'm just going to keep plaiting under 4 over 4 until I run out of my orange strand, and at that point I will be dropping it. Okay, so I've been plaiting along here and it has come to the time that we need to drop these 2 red strands. Now this is a type of pattern that we do have to drop 2 strands at the same time because we need both sides to be symmetrical to maintain our pattern. So I'm going to go ahead and drop these 2 red strands. Hold on a second. If the shortest strands on the overlay are orange, then why are we dropping the red strand first? Well, I actually made a mistake and got the shortest orange strand swapped with the shortest red strand. So, doesn't matter. You guys are going to be dropping the orange strand here. I'm dropping the red. So don't worry about it. All this means is that your whip is going to turn out looking a little bit better than mine as far as pattern goes.
Sorry about that slip up there. I have no idea how that happened, but it won't happen again.
Okay, so I'm going to drop the strand. You'll be dropping an orange strand right now. I'm actually dropping a red. Sorry about the confusion. Here we go. Tuck it under like this. Keep in mind this strand should be orange, not red. I'm really sorry about that. And then the other side. Pulling it, tucking it underneath. So there's 2 strands. And now we're going under 4 over 3 I think we might be done with the GoPro for a while, guys. It had potential, but like some of you said, it was kind of nauseating, really. A lot of bouncing around, unnecessary bouncing around. So I think this 10mm lens pretty much takes care of any, we get a lot in the frame at once. Let's just say that. Okay. 2 strands here that you just dropped. They'll be orange for you. Giving them a little pull, not too hard, and then pulling those strands right below it, tightening everything a little bit here. Here we go. Under 4/3. We're almost ready to snip those 2 strands that we've just dropped. Let's do that now. So we just gave them one last pull. I'm gonna do it one more time. So once these are snipped, you're pretty much done. Gonna use my snippers instead of the scissors. Little angular cuts here. Lighter. Lighter that's almost out of butane. Press it into the belly beneath. Same with this one. And we continue plating. Under 4/4. Now you'll be coming up to our red strand. We're going to keep plating until our red strands are about this long, and then we will drop again. Once again, I'll meet you there. So here we are in a 14 plait right now. The difference between my whip and your whip is my whip will have 2 red strands and an orange, and your whip will have 2 red strands and 1 orange. That's the only difference. Alright, it's time to drop a couple more strands. I'm going to drop these 2 orange strands here. For you, they will be red strands because of my mistake that I made. Okay? So pulling that, just tucking it underneath like this. And now we'll be in a 12 plait under 3/3. These 2 are our dropped strands. Once again, for you, they will be red. For me, they are orange because I made a mistake. Under 3/3. Notice all of our strands of the same color are touching each other. Yellow is touching yellow, orange, and red is now by itself. I believe I made a mistake there. Alright, keep going, under 3/3. These strands. 3/3. We're just about to the point where we can cut those dropped strands. There's enough pressure on them so where they won't sneak back out. I think we're going to do that now. Go. 1 comes 2. I don't like having the flame that close to my lens. I know it looks far, but it's not. Not with this lens. It's close. Okay. So you just dropped your 2 red strands, for me they're orange. Now we're going to continue on. We got rid of all of the differences right now between your whip and my whip. So our 2 whips should look the same now. 12 plait, under 3/3. And continue down, and our next drop strand will be yellow for both you and for me. Okay, it's time to drop our 2 yellow strands here. And that will bring things down to a 10 plait. We're still currently at 12. I'm just gonna plait a little more here. We'll get our 2 yellow strands in position to be dropped. Once again, always dropping 2 strands simultaneously. Okay, here's our strand. It's very windy outside right now. It's always hard to crack whips in the wind. I've hit myself in the face a few times. 1, 2. Sometimes it's hard to really get them to stay in the middle there. And now we are under 3/2, 10 plait. Getting down to it, guys. Under 3/2. Give them a little pull. Under 3/2. One more little pull on each of them and then we'll cut them. Get out of there. Away from the lens. Press them into the belly beneath. And carry on. Under 3/2. The next strands we'll be dropping are the black strands. Keep going, I'll meet you there. Okay, we're down to this black strand here. We have 2 of them that we're going to drop at the same time. Do a couple more here, and then we'll get in position and drop it. Under 3/2. In a 10 plait currently, and we will be transitioning to an 8 plait. Here's our strand to be dropped. Pull right underneath like that. It's going to be a little bit hard to see, so I'm going to exaggerate the brightness a little bit for you. We'll go to 800 ISO. Hopefully you can see that better. I think you can. And then on the left side, corresponding strand, one last tug, and then pull down. I didn't know. So we have these two strands that we just dropped. We're in 8 plait now, under 2/2. As you can see, I've plaited down here. Here are the strands, giving them a little pull here. And we have enough coverage here to where we can safely snip them. And press them under into the belly below. 4 plait. Sorry, 8 plait, under 4/4. And keep on plaiting. The next strand that we drop will be red. We are nearing the end of this plaited portion of the whip, and we're getting ready to drop this red strand here and the corresponding red strand on the other side. Plait a couple more times here. And here it is. Give it a pull, and underneath it goes. Still dropping 2 strands at the same time. Here's our other one. And pull right underneath this orange one. And that's where it'll be. Forever and ever. Keep plaiting over that for a little while. One more strand, and then we'll pull those 2 red ones tight. We can just about do that now. So we're gonna plait a couple more times. Pull this one, pull that one, and the orange one right below it. Plaiting a little more. And we'll cut those 2 strands. Whip shop needs a new lighter. Wow. Low battery warning. I'll take care of that. Okay, got a fresh battery. 2 red strands have been dropped, melted, and pressed into the core. We are in a 6 plait now. Under 2/1. Alrighty, keep on going. The next strand that we will drop will be black. Not for a little while though. Notice this is the end of the core here. This is 5 feet right here. What I'm doing nowadays, as I mentioned in the previous video, is I'm dropping one of the strands here, which will bring it down to a 4 plait, and I'll use that strand. For example, if I drop this strand, which I will be soon, this strand will be dropped and it becomes the core for that last foot. And I like to do that because I feel like I can get a much finer point at the end of the whip, and the ratio, the handle to the fall hitch ratio is much higher, and therefore it's more accurate and it's easier to crack, less wind resistance, etc. So that's why I do that now. I'll be doing that shortly. Be going to the second annual Los Angeles Whip Cracking Convention, which is on the 7th of January and the 8th of January. I'll be heading over to LA with my brother Luke. It's going to be a fun time. Which means I have to make more whips to bring. Alright, so it's time to drop one of these black strands. This time, I am actually going to drop just one strand at a time here. I know I said I never would, but for the sake of what I like to do for the core, and making it a 550 parachute cord core to finish that last foot, we're doing it for the sake of that. Here we go. Black strand is being dropped. Right side under 1 over 1. Briefly, we're off balance here. Left side under 2 over 1. Assume a 6 plait on the left and a 4 plait on the right. Look at this tangled mess I have. It's very important that after no more than 2 passes you gotta untangle your strands at the bottom, because it'll do like an inverse thing of what you're doing here. You'll start to get plaiting going down here, unintentionally, which is a real pain if you let it go for too long. I never mentioned that in the video, I don't think. Alright, keep plaiting that. Give a little pull here. There's the dropped strand. There it goes. I'm not a big fan of how melted and awkward this tip of this sinker cord is. I'm going to snip that melted part off. It's just too bulky. I don't appreciate it. So it's gone. Oops. Dropping the other black strand here very shortly. Not just yet, so I can get a nice smooth taper. I'm going to keep plaiting for a few more inches and I'll join back up with you. Okay, so let's go ahead and drop that other black strand here. And one more, and we'll drop it. Alright, so there it is. We're going to swing it down, give it a pull. There it goes. So now we want to pull that strand that we just dropped here. There it is. And now I'm going to cut the other strand just so we don't have two strands as the core, because we don't want the whip to suddenly bulk up again. For plait, under 1 over 1, finishing the whip in orange and yellow. Which is cool. I like that. Maybe I ought to make one of these whips for Tide. Maybe they want to do something with the whip in their commercial. No, they absolutely would not. Okay. Continue plating. I'm going to measure this real quick to make sure I have exactly 6 feet, and then we'll tie a fall on. So here we are. The whip is 6 feet long currently, which is what we want. We're going to put an orange fall on this whip. Slip the, open up an eye on the fall. Slip the 4 strands in. And the black strand here, which is the core, goes in as well. Alright. Once that's in, we can tighten that fall back up. Just let it sit there on the back. Not crazy about that little. There we go. Okay. Let's tie it. Give everything one last good pull. Move that up a little bit. Hold this fall down. Yellow strand. Next will be whatever strand I tie. I'm going to tie a knot to indicate that I already used that strand. Next we'll have this orange strand here. Another knot. Next, a yellow strand. Make sure that we're still okay. And a knot. The last strand will be this orange strand. Which will feed up through the fall hitch. Now we can go ahead and tie this one tight. And it'll go up through there, under the fall. Do this real quick. Melt the tip so we can get it threaded into our needle. Pull. We can still tighten it once we get it through here, but I just like to get it as close as possible. Under these guys. Under 3 and under the fall itself. Now don't just rip the thing, because you can actually, before you tighten these, if you do this first, you can actually pull that last strand underneath the other knots, and that just looks horrible. Starting with the top, and then an orange strand. Whoop, that's the fall. And an orange, yellow. Gonna cinch this up a little bit, and also see how the fall needs to come down a little bit. Don't just pull this so hard. Let the cracking of the whip set this, okay? Okay. You don't really need to pull the core strand. If you want, go ahead. Just to set it a little more. You don't need to. And now we're going to cut. Make sure that the fall is out of the way. Give them an inch. Throw those away. Keep them for later. And then also, focus. There we go. One last tug here. Cut it. Singe it. And I'm also going to melt these so it doesn't fray with what little butane I have left. One more. Come on, lighter. There we go. I'm running on fumes here. Okay, it's time to give the whip a roll, and then we'll start the knots. So we have the knot foundation, and I've decided to do a red disc here for the heel. I think red will look nice. So it's time to tie a 2-pass 6x7 Turk's head knot. This will be a 2-color knot. Base color will be black, and the highlight color will be orange. Alright, so I've cut about a 3.5 foot piece of black parachute cord, laced it into my needle, and here we go with a 6x7 Turk's head knot 2-pass. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and tie this Turk's head knot, starting with the black. So we got 1 pass of this knot is complete, and it's time to expand it to a 6x7. If you're having trouble tying this knot, please refer to the video in the description. There's a link there. I'm going to continue and expand this knot from a 5x4 to a 6x7. So I have here my orange strand, which will be the 2nd pass of my 6x7 Turk's head knot here. Just fused it in place by melting it to the black. So moving on. Knot is taking shape here, just a few more passes to go and it'll be complete. So here is the finished knot, just needs a quick roll. Red disc at the top here, black with orange highlights. I think that'll look nice with the rest of the pattern. So I'm going to give this a quick roll and then tie a transition knot, and this guy will be done. We have a transition knot foundation in place, and I'm getting ready to tie. This will be a 5x4 2-pass knot. Once again, black with orange highlights. So we have our orange strand attached here to our lead strand. We're going to go ahead and finish this whip off right now. with the exception of a bath and wax at the very end. I'm going to go ahead and finish this knot up. Well, a little dip in the wax and this whip is complete. 2-pass 5x4, 2-pass 6x7. There's that classic fire pattern. Thong ends in just orange and yellow. 4-point ball hitch. Thank you guys so much for stopping by and watching this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, once again, please just reach down there and hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. Also, if you're interested in a custom-made whip like the one you saw today or a different color scheme, check out nixwhipshop.com where you can order your own custom whip there. That's it for today, guys. I'll see you in the next video.